Google's changed things up quite a bit with the new Pixel Fold. From the overall design to even, the naming scheme, calling it the Pixel 9 Pro Fold instead of the Pixel Fold 2, to clearly indicate that it's part of the Pixel 9 lineup, and at the same time also sneaking in that Pro moniker, maybe to justify that price tag. Anyways, Google's second gen foldable, it's been quite a departure from the one that came before it, and I've not been using it as my primary for a week. So has it lived up to the expectations set by its sky-high price tag? Hey guys, Ash here from C4E Tech, and let's find out in today's review. I like the build. I like how this phone feels in hand. Now it's a lot slimmer than last year's model. It's still not the world's slimmest or anything. That honors the Magic V3s, at least for now. But the phone, in fact, does feel very slim and light. And Google's managed to do this without really compromising on the battery capacity. In fact, the screen, it's gotten bigger. So this here, the cover display, it's a 6.3-inch AMOLED panel, and the aspect ratio is closer to what you'd find on an iPhone or a Galaxy S phone. This size means the cover screen is more familiar to use, and typing on it doesn't feel cramped either. The experience, to me, it was very comfortable. And when you open it up, the new display on the inside, it's almost a square. Well, not exactly, because if you do turn the phone around 90 degrees when watching a video, you end up with a 7.5% increase in size, but it's negligible. And this almost square aspect ratio, it's perfect for multitasking, which I will get to in a minute. Now both these panels, they're very bright, so using them outdoors is not a problem. There is support for HDR10 and Dolby Vision 2. Now the outer display, it's covered by Corning's Gorilla Glass Victus 2 for protection, just like the back, and there is IPX8 certification for water resistance. Now there are a couple of things about this cover panel that I found weird. Number one, the selfie cutout. I found it a little too large and it bothered me for a few days till I kinda got used to it, I guess. Now on the inside, I didn't really care about that because you almost never get to see it due to the aspect ratio. It is usually covered by black bars. Now the other weird thing is that we get LTPO tech for the screen on the inside, but not the cover panel. Now I didn't get the logic behind this because the outer panel is where we're going to be using that always on functionality, right? Anyways, I don't see it as a big con because the battery life, it's been very good on this one. I'd easily get a day of solid use. To give you some perspective, where I'd end the day with like 30-35% left on my S24 Ultra, I'd end up with 20-25% left on the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. But then again, your mileage may vary because my use case, it's like 80% on the cover screen, whether I'm browsing Reddit or listening to music or if I'm checking mails. I usually use just the cover screen for it. And it's only when I want to watch videos or I want to multitask, I actually open it up. Now foldables are typically very comfortable for multitasking, and the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, it isn't any different either. Now given this is a Pixel 9 series phone, pretty much everything we saw on the Pixel 9 Pro XL video, if you've not seen that video, here's a card to it. Now all that is available here. You can generate your own wallpapers, there's Gemini Live, Add Me, Circle to Search. The experience is fabulous. And the Fold also gets 7 years of software support, but here's where things get a tad bit iffy. Because yes, they are going to support it for 7 years, but the chip inside, it's underpowered to begin with. Now to put things into perspective, if you were to compare it with Qualcomm flagships, it would slot in somewhere between the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 and the 8 Gen 2. And right now, towards the end of 2024, where the 8 Gen 4 or whatever it is that Qualcomm wants to call it, where that is on the horizon, is it a good idea to pay so much for a flagship that is underpowered to begin with? I feel that's a question anyone looking at the Pixel 9 lineup need to consider, not just with the Fold. In fact, to me, the decision is actually a little easier when it comes to foldables. Because guys, no foldable is going to be very good for gaming, given that these are very slim phones. With the thickness being reduced so much, there are thermal compromises that need to be made. So none of these are great for sustained performance. And when it comes to the day-to-day, the Tensor G4 on the inside is excellent for that. Anyways, coming back to the build, the back, it's got a matte soft touch finish, so it doesn't pick up fingerprints or smudges as much. And here's where I feel I have a very valid complaint. Now guys, I don't like it per se, but at least I see logic in Google's justification, Google and other brands' justifications on why they don't include chargers in the box anymore. Eco-friendliness and all that, whatever it is. But pretty much anyone and everyone buying an $1,800 phone, they're gonna use it with a case, right? In fact, I don't think I've ever seen anyone use a foldable naked. Anyone in the wild, people I know, people I've come across, I've never seen anybody use a foldable phone naked. And then we have pretty much every Chinese brand throwing in a charger, which let's forget about it for the moment, and a case in the box. Those phones come with screen protectors pre-applied. The fact that Google provides pretty much nothing in the box, it kind of feels very off to me, very anti-consumer. And also when you take into account that this is not a Z Fold 6, meaning this is not going to be as popular. So third-party cases, especially at launch, they are very hard to come by, and also later on in a phone's life cycle, obviously. So this omission of any accessories whatsoever in the box, especially given that $1,800 price tag, it makes zero sense to me. End of rant. Now forget included chargers. The actual charging speed here is nothing to write home about. 21 watts wired, 7.5 watts wireless. So it takes over 30 minutes to just get to 50% and over an hour and a half to be fully charged, which is definitely, like I said, nothing to write home about. And the 7.5 watt wireless charging is pretty much unusable. Anyways, moving on, like I mentioned earlier, the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, it is very slim. It's just 5.1 millimeters unfolded, and this causes that camera bump to just stand out, be very prominent. Unlike with the original Pixel Fold, the camera array here, it's not in a straight line. It's kind of off to one side, which initially led me to wonder if it would wobble. But thankfully, this array, it's still pretty large, so when I put it down on a surface and I use it, it doesn't really wobble. So I guess you can call that a kind of silver lining here. Now, the camera performance itself, it's very good for a foldable. As long as you don't go in with the expectation of a Pixel 9 Pro in a foldable form factor, you're not going to be disappointed. But then again, the naming kind of makes you think that, doesn't it? Pixel 9 Pro Fold. I don't know. It's still got the same typical Google high contrast, excellent dynamic range kind of imaging style. But there is only so much software can do, since due to the foldable size constraints, Google has had to go with a smaller sensor here. The software, it covers for it very well under good lighting conditions, but when the light dips under low light, images oftentimes end up being softer and noisier in comparison to the Pixel 9 Pro. The regular selfies and rear camera selfies, they all turned out great, and all the camera functionality that we saw on the Pixel 9 Pro, they are present and accounted for here. So the camera experience, I'd call it excellent for a foldable. Because if you are comparing it to any standard candy bar flagship, it's definitely, I'd call it a level below that. Anyways, personally, I love the time I spent with the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. Do I love it enough for $1,800 though? I guess that's the big question, right? To me, the asking price seems a little too steep. It definitely is one of my favorite foldables today, and Google's got a lot of things right, the ergonomics, the software experience, the support, but that underpowered G4 chip and the sky-high price tag, that makes me stop short of recommending this excellent foldable. And that is my take. Now, what do you guys think about the Pixel 9 Pro Fold? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Ash out.